So I want to tell you a story about my Newport Folk Festival, where we tried to do a really cool thing and it didn't work at first because it got too fancy. And then I'll show you where we landed. So one of the things that's important to know about all the projects on GlobalGiving is that in order to remain in good standing and publicly visible on the site, projects publish quarterly reports. These are written narratives that come generally straight from the people doing the work. And if you as a donor have signed up to receive them, they get sent straight to your inbox. It's a great way for organizations to stay connected with their supporters. It's a great way for supporters to understand, what are you doing with my money? It's a real strong relationship builder, and it's a useful way for us as an organization to understand what organizations are doing. And so this is a screenshot actually of one from that rat project that I found in my inbox. And okay, so I made a donation 7 years ago. I'm still getting these emails. Like, that's a long time to be following the progress of a really insignificant donation. So these are really cool. They're very powerful, and we get a lot of them. 25,000 projects, 4 times a year, lots of reports. And as I said, our staff isn't big. As the organization has grown, the influx of project reports has grown, and the staff of people that we have that manage these things has remained totally flat. We don't edit these reports when they come out, but we do have people, or at the time, when this story begins, we had people actually read through every one and make sure that there were no issues with, for example, full names of community members being mentioned in a way that could compromise their privacy, or photos being sent out that didn't comply with our photo policy. Basically, just the kind of compliancy things that we need to do to make sure that this email that's automatically going to go out to, in some cases, hundreds of thousands of people is okay to do that. So that's kind of the use case. They were finding it was unsustainable to actually make this happen at the scale that it needed to continue to happen. And so they said, hey, what can we do on the data side to facilitate this? And we said, cool, natural language processing is fun. There's a lot of stuff we can do with it. And I think this is a pitfall that happens to many data folks, because we like to build stuff. We like fun tools. We like to make cool looking charts like this. I get it. We got a little too fancy. So we had this great idea. I read this paper where someone had scraped all of the public domain novels off of Project Gutenberg and had then done rolling windows sentiment analysis over the entire length of those novels, and then tried to understand if they aligned with like the Faulknerian literature archetypes of rags to riches, or riches to rags, or the man in a hole story where it starts out happy and gets sad in the middle and then gets happy again at the end. And so we thought, oh, this is one of many things we did. We thought, oh, what can we learn about the narrative arcs of project reports? Like, there's probably some really interesting stories in there. And so we did that. We replicated this approach from this paper, and we made these cool charts, and we started to see, like, yeah, there is a category of project reports that generally start out kind of sad and then get more happy. And there is a class that generally starts out happy, gets sad, and gets happier again at the end. This helped nobody. We were really optimistic that this was going to be a useful thing. But this was an electric guitar at the Newport Folk Festival. What we actually needed was this. And this is the thing that we actually have that is now running in production and continues to run. This is a screenshot of the automatic report reviewer. And so some little chunks of the pipelines that we built to make those pretty charts remain in use. But all they do is just focus on highlighting the aspects of the reports that we need the humans to look at because they are potential issues. So, for example, you can see here, it's flagged in the body of this particular report the name Mickey Mouse. This is a false positive. But this is a potential situation where it's like, oh, that looks like a full name. Are you sure that you want to send that report out? And so ultimately, it's also scanning for profanity, which incidentally is a really interesting natural language algorithm to write. That's all I'm going to say about that. And so coming back to our theme of simplicity here, like, this is not complicated. This omits a lot of the really cool, fun data pipelining we did around natural language processing, but this is what ultimately the team actually needed. And I think to be effective in a data role, particularly as kind of a sole practitioner in an organization, it's really important to keep that focus on the simplicity of what the team actually needs, because ultimately that's where we find a lot of the value.